I can't handle it right now. I can't handle the craziness of Naruto 640. I'm done. I gotta walk away. I gotta put Naruto down. This chapter was too much for me. Craziness. So this chapter of Naruto, a pretty basic battle chapter, but with a very big thing in it. So I want to start off by saying that losing control, I definitely say that was the right way to go with Obito losing control, basically, of the Ten Tails, the Jubi mode and whatnot. I think that it was very appropriate. You know, he's a noob. He shouldn't have been able to control it. So him losing total control for that time period was very well done. And I also found it interesting how the Biju Damas were just coming out of his hands left and right. It was just pretty much an explosion of power because he couldn't contain it. So in that aspect, that part of the chapter, very nice. And once again, this chapter overall pushed forward that Obito is pretty badass with this newfound power. And, you know, he's stomping motherfuckers right now. He's kicking ass when Minato gets his arm ripped off and then has a Biju bomb right next to his freaking arm. You know shit is serious. But this chapter also went very dark. And that was something that caught my eye as well. Every now and then Kishimoto likes to give us some darkness, and I appreciate it because at the end of the day, some darkness does give a little spice and flavor. In this chapter, the parts with Obito getting ripped apart was just freaking mind-boggling. It definitely reminds me of FMA when they were getting their bodies ripped apart, especially Alphonse. That definitely reminded me of that because it was just like his whole body getting ripped apart. It was gory, and I enjoyed it. I will say that the one part of the chapter that I wasn't too fond of is once again something that has been, I guess, a problematic aspect to begin with. But then again, I've learned to accept it at this point. And that's the fact of the matter that pretty much at the end, he was able to control the power due to him pretty much thinking about Rin. And once again, that just really solidifies the fact that this was indeed really mostly because of Rin. Even though he said it wasn't, he pretty much mastered a godlike monster because he was thinking about Rin. His memories were getting ripped apart. Obito, you know, he forgot who he was. He forgot who Minato was. He forgot who Kakashi was. But then when the Rin picture started getting ripped apart, it was basically symbolic. It wasn't actually that he had a picture in his head. It was basically him. He was losing memory of everybody. But when it came to that Rin part, it just, he couldn't help it. I guess what they say is true. First loves really do die hard. So in that part of the chapter, I wasn't too fond of it, but that was the only part of the chapter. The action in this chapter, 10 out of 10. The action on this chapter, just the action, 10 out of 10. And then some of the panels were beautifully drawn as well. The art was really top-notch in this one, especially there was one particular panel where it was Naruto, Sasuke, and Minato, very well drawn. Almost looked like it was out of the anime. And all of the Biju bombs freaking blasting everywhere. It was just freaking very nicely done. And I also noticed one thing, and I don't know, maybe if it's just coincidental, but when Obito was transforming, he was losing control, he started turning into a snake for a moment. You know, I'm just throwing this out there, but what if Orochimaru had some sort of connection to the Sage, whether it be bloodline, or maybe the jutsu that he got to live immortal and turn into that snake mode was from the Sage himself. Just a thought. And last but not least, Obito looking like the Sage of Six Paths, even having the staff, everything. To be honest with you, I think that's because of the power of the Kyuubi along with the others. When Naruto and Minato go into their Kyuubi mode, they pretty much have that similar look, but they don't have the complete look with the horns and the staff. And I think that's the Kyuubi's power in addition to the rest of the Bijus. Like I said in a previous discussion, I feel as though the Kyuubi has some sort of the Sage's power within him, and having the rest of the Biju in there as well pretty much gives him the power to get that staff and everything else, give him the full look. Because yeah, he does have some of the Kyuubi's chakra from the Ginkaku and Kinkaku brothers. Overall, I'm not gonna lie, this chapter was the bomb. Loved it. Fighting, crazy mysteries. Only part of the chapter that I wasn't really fond of is once again the Rin thing. That pretty much the reason why he conquered everything at the end was the final part of Rin's memory being ripped out of him. But I guess at the end of the day, you just gotta accept it. The reason Obito is doing most of this is because of Rin. Let me know what you think, guys. First of all, the big question of this chapter: why does Obito look identical to the Sage of Six Paths now that he mastered the Jubi? If you remember correctly, we've seen the Sage of Six Paths before with that staff and that similar look, and that was when he was actually fighting the Jubi, so he didn't have the Jubi in him. Again, I'm going with that is Kurama's chakra. There's something in it from the Sage, as well as the combination of the other Bijus inside of him. But let me know what you think. And also the whole Rin situation, pretty much the reason why Obito was able to conquer this power was because of Rin. Did that disappoint you? Did that piss you off? Or at this point, have you accepted the fact that Obito loved Rin, and that's pretty much why he's just disgusted and disappointed with this world? I'm not a fan of it, but I get it. Oh, and by the way, I give this chapter 9.5 out of 10. Just incredible. A new mystery. Why does Obito look like the Sage? Epic battles. It made Obito even more badass. The fact that he is pwning Minato. Kishimoto just went darker with this one, and I freaking love it. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for this craziness of a chapter because I loved it. It was freaking awesome. It was only one little complaint that I had, but for the most part, shit was freaking epic. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.